Welcome to the Critical Focus channel and this FAQ of sorts, or easy to miss rules or features of the game. Over the months and years, I frequently get people in the comments that want this or that rule to be clarified, and I thought on that note I'd make a list, since people tend to like lists of some hard to spot rules that might be easy to miss or get wrong, I guess. So let's just dive in. Let's keep this short and snappy. The first one is can and cannot, which basically means that if one rule tells you a fighter cannot, for example, be pushed, and then you have a ploy or other that tells you to push a given fighter, the cannot rule overrides the can. Here's a couple of cards to visualize this. Number 2, rerolls. If you have a reroll from any source, really be it a stagger token, an upgrade, or a ploy, you A, don't have to reroll if you don't want to, and B, if you do so, you have to do so immediately after the initial roll. So for example, in the case of a reroll for an attack action, you can't wait until after the defense roll to see if you want to go for the reroll or not. You have to then reroll before the following defense roll. But on the same note, the defending player should obviously be a good sport and not roll the defense roll too quickly until making sure the attacking player actually wants to utilize the reroll or not. Common sense is obviously always key. And C, you can't reroll a rerolled dice. So if you for some reason have more than one reroll, say one reroll from an upgrade and one from the fighter you are attacking being staggered, to use your 2 or more, I guess, rerolls, each of those rerolls must be used to reroll a separate previously unrerolled dice. Number 3, do-overs. This one is a bit easy to miss as it refers to different chapters here. If you choose to do a do-over or a mulligan at the start of the game, the cards you mulligan goes, albeit temporarily, in your discard pile before being reshuffled back into your deck after you draw your new hand. And the very nature of a discard pile means that your cards are placed face up, which then means that each player may look at those cards before they are reshuffled, because that's the very nature of a discard pile. So make sure that your opponent at least have the chance to look at your mulligan cards before you reshuffle them. Number 4, tokens versus counters. These are easy to mix up, but they are not the same. As pointed out by my brilliant frequent viewer Mr. Mark Reynolds in my comment section, counters are round and tokens are square. The tokens are move, charge, guard, and stagger, while counters are, for example, wounds, raise, or any of the warband specific ones or rival deck specific ones such as Wa, Aether Quartz, Hunger, etc. Tokens are placed next to the fighter, the miniature on the battlefield, and counters are placed on the fighter card, or in some cases on an upgrade card if specified thusly. Counters also stays around until the fighter is taken out of action, unless otherwise specified, of course. Tokens are cleared at the end of the round. Do note that the end of the round means after the end phase, not after the action phase. A round equals action phase plus the end phase. Number 5, grievous effects and knockback effects stack. Not together though, but yeah. So if you, for example, have 2 effects giving you Grievous 1, they will together become Grievous 2, and thusly mean that if you roll at least 1 crit in a successful attack action, you will do 2 additional damage on top of your base damage. The same goes for knockback effects. So if you have 2 different sources giving you knockback 1, for example, they will be added together to give you knockback 2, meaning that you can push a fighter a total of 3 hexes away from you. Drive back plus the 2 additional hexes from the knockback. Do note also that knockback only works on a successful attack. Do also note though that the knockback ignores the drive back immunity that you will have from being on guard. Number 6, charge and the declare attack action. When you make a charge super action, you do not need to declare your target until after the move part of the charge is completed. This is due to the fact that a charge super action is indeed a move and an attack action, and the declare attack action step does not occur until the move is completed, including any reactions to it. So if, for example, the target you had intended to attack initially moves away as a reaction to your move action and is no longer eligible for an attack action from your fighter, you may declare your attack against another target that is. Another thing to mention here while talking about the charged super action is the charged out rule, which I messed up a bit in my how-to video. When all of your surviving friendly fighters have one or more charged tokens, you may pick one of those fighters to activate again, as long as you do not make a super action. Do note that you may only do so if all of your fighters have one or more charged tokens specifically. If, for example, you have 4 surviving friendly fighters and 3 of them have a charged token and the 4th only has a move token, you may only activate the one with a move token. This can be important to consider when making a reactionary move, as it might actually screw you over later by blocking yourself off from being able to utilize the charged out rule. Number 7, stagger immunity will block delve. And this one is actually even tougher to spot, as it's hidden in an FAQ and can't really be learned by simply reading the rulebook. The FAQ is a bit older though, so it's weird that they didn't actually include it in the book. Delving a feature token will make a fighter staggered. This we know from the rulebook, and we also learned that a staggered fighter cannot delve a feature token. But the implications of the if you can't fulfill the conditions, you can't do the thing, it's a bit more of a fringe case that you might not be able to discern simply by reading the rulebook. Basically what it means as well then is that if a fighter via an upgrade, for example, becomes immune to being staggered, that also means that they can't delve a feature token, which we learn via this FAQ. Number 8, setting characteristics. Some cards, etc., modifies your characteristic with, say, +1 or -1 to your attack, action, or defense characteristic or whatever, but some set them to a set value. For example, an upgrade setting your defense characteristic to 1 or 2, it doesn't modify with, say, +1, +2, it simply changes it to the new value. We also learn from this chapter here that whatever characteristic is set the most recently overrides the previous effect. So for example, say that Sondara becomes Void Cursed, that means that from the Void Cursed plot card, we learn that a Void Cursed fighter's defense characteristic is then set to 1 shield. And then she is given the Amber Bone Infusion, which then tells us that our defense characteristic is 2. The latter takes effect, thus overriding the 1 dice from the Void Cursed plot card, taking her up to 2 shields instead, which is fairly easy to miss. I think especially given the prevalence of the Void Cursed Thralls deck, this is something that's important to consider. Number 9 is a bit more of a fringe case, but anyway, innate support symbols. If your former source has an innate single support, for example, in your next attack, it simply means that on top of the results you will roll in that attack, you add 1 single support. That does not mean that single support becomes a success for you in that attack unless you actually have at least 1 supporting friendly fighter in that attack. You only get that result on top of your rolled dice. Number 10, 1 reaction per player per step. This came up in a comment asking me why I didn't react with both of the dogs for Hexbane's Hunters when one of my fighters with the Hunter keyword moved, since both of the dogs have that reaction to a friendly hunter moving printed on their cards. Basically, it means that in each reaction window, each player may only react once, starting with the player whose turn it is. And since both of these dogs use the same window for their reactionary move, only 1 dog may react. Number 11, the ice melts. This one is actually a bit tougher to spot, and it can't actually be found under the part talking about feature tokens, but rather under the part talking about the end of the round. Basically, after it says to clear all the tokens at the end of the round, it also tells us that any of the feature tokens that have the blocked hex side faced up is removed from play before the new round starts, which is, very easy to miss or forget. So those were the 11 with some added tangents rules I wanted to highlight here in this video. Make sure to hit me up in the comments if you want me to do more similar stuff, or if you found it useful, hit me up with a like and share it with your community if you found it helpful, and click all the buttons. Cheers, bye. This is me again, chiming in to thank you for watching the video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. All of those things help me out immensely. If you feel so inclined, do consider to become a member to gain a greater influence over the content, early access, and just generally help me out. If you like this particular video especially much, feel free to click the thanks button as well to leave a small donation. All of those things are 100% optional, and I will never keep videos permanently locked behind a paywall, as my main goal is to spread the love for these games as much as possible. A special thanks to my members, whose legendary names are scrolling right before your eyes at this very instant. Don't forget, the games are not only about winning, but also creating unforgettable memories with your friends and opponents. That's it for me. See you soon. Bye bye.